good, y'all? 2nd and 5. We got Tim, we got Quato, we got Mike, we got Josh. Guys, take it away.
James Cooper might not be joining us, fellas, because he has a meeting with JPP. So, it's about carving the turkey for Thanksgiving. So he might, he's
Giving that
will be in that
oven mitt,
meeting.
right?
Yeah,
Getting a lot of
oven
food
mitt.
out tomorrow.
Yeah. We're gonna miss you, Coop. But here's the thing. Second quarter. Should the refs be penalized on bad calls that decides the games? If you think so, what would you do? What kind of penalty would you put on the refs?
Hey, I can tell you. Excuse me, I got to start this off. I'm still a little bit hot about the refereeing from the Vikings Packers game.
You should be.
I'm still a little bit hot.
You should be.
A little bit hot on cover. So I'm gonna start this off. First things first. I don't think it should just be about calls that decide the game. These refs need to be held accountable for calls during the game because you really don't know how one blown call on 3rd and 9 can lead to 6 or 7 points as opposed to a field goal, which then changes how the next team runs their offense and calls plays. So you have this trickle-down effect because of one bad call or 2 bad calls or 3 bad calls. So, like, it's just a snowball effect throughout the games. So whether it comes to one call, the Fail Mary, or the other one that the guy had the Calvin Johnson catch, etc., for me, I don't really care so much about the end of the games, but I think the refs definitely need to be held accountable. I believe the league is planning to break up the reffing teams that they have or whatever and ship them out because certain teams called certain penalties, some call holding more than others, etc., etc. I think you need to. I'm not even sure, like, I guess start ducking checks or whatever from these guys or whatever because they're not making their money.
I think it's really hard. Okay, let's figure this out. I think the main issue is that you're right. It should be the entire play. You can't just go like, oh, well, that decided the game because if you can miss one call in the last minute, chances are you missed a lot more. So I think it should be kind of like an issue where, okay, you miss, there's a threshold. You can look at enough games and know, all right, that's a great official game, even though he missed 5 calls. So, like, if you miss over 10 or 15 calls, you don't get paid. I feel like it's that simple. Like, but here, the only issue with that is I need to know how many refs do we have doing this? And where are they coming from? Because I'll tell you straight up, love Georgia Tech. ACC refs are terrible. I don't even know if they can read. So
I'm just going to add one thing else. Why is a billion-dollar industry organization like the NFL not have full-time refs? These guys are insurance salesmen during the day, and they step into the booth like Superman, and they pull down the striped shirt, and it's up. I need somebody that their entire day is spent in the rule book. The off-season, their job is the rule book. I don't want Al Bundy's who sell shoes as their 9 to 5 in here attempted to call games. It makes no sense.
Right. But here's the thing now too, because if you go to the NFL draft like I do mostly every year, they always have the referee jobs available. They give you an application, and I know when I forgot the referee's name, but he's no longer the ref. He does like what Mike Pereira does to explain the bad calls. He is from Bronzeville. And I remember speaking to him. They had the replay machines there, and he was basically telling us what he called this, what he called that. So he gave us an application, and he was saying that it's a 2 weeks course to be an NFL ref. It was about $500 to go to the academy, 2 weeks, and you got to pick the teams that you like, so you can't ref those games. So they don't want you to be biased. So I was like, wow. So it's a lot of information, but what I don't get is this: the calls are not bad. I mean, bad call. These are calls that you see right in your face, and you just don't call it. I look for me. No disrespect towards the referees, but the Des Bryant play where against the Buccaneers, he got freaking pushed. You saw the push, and not a yellow flag. Then you saw against Seattle Seahawks, Luke Wilson, another PED fanatic on Seattle, goes down the goal line, and it's a touchdown. You got Ed Hockley with his Amani tightest shirt in the world. I think you see his nipples popping out of the referee shirt all the time, and you see him tell Cam Newton, "I am not calling that because you're not Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning." I don't respect shit. Oh, excuse me. I don't respect things like that. What you're doing right there is you're deciding the game, and it's just not right. I don't know if these refs are playing FanDuel, fantasy football, DraftKings, and I don't know what's going on. But I mean, you have shit in your eye or something like that. You're not watching these games correctly. You just calling the call like the name. Let's keep it real. The Giants versus the Patriot game. Did anybody not see the play clock when the Patriots kicked the field goal? I know my man Jacob saw it. How did it go from 25, 24, 10, 9, 8, 7, then go to 25. Now, all those seconds to set up to kick a field goal and the Patriots win the game. I'm sorry. For me, you got to find them. And if you do something else again like that, a suspension.
Well,
that will really teach the referee these jobs, man. They got to do a better job.
Can I make an opinion? And thanks for Cueto that give me that more insight that they're not being paid enough. But you have to also understand one thing: people are human. Like I understand what Michael was saying. If you miss like 10 calls, maybe let's find a threshold. But to say that you didn't find that one call, like they have to find every single call. People are human.
No. You mean tell me that you have to be nobody's saying. Hold on. Nobody's saying.
My gripe, though. This is the thing. Like, if you have the power to determine another player's career almost because of a blown call, it's a trickle effect. A blown call can lead to them being viewed as not as productive, not getting another team. You're messing with their career potential. In a sense, refs need to be held accountable. They make close to almost, I'm going to say, $185,000. That's, in my book, you're living pretty comfortably when you're making close to almost $250,000 a year. Let's not be, frank here. So if you're making these blown calls constantly, you need to be held accountable. And if it's not just you making the call, if it's a team of refs, you need to have offenses or steps to the penalties. Like your first blown call in an NFL game, if it's you or squad, you both get the penalty of like $500 deducted. Your second offense, that's $1,000. If you do it a third time in the season, $1,500 or $2,000. You keep amping it up, and if you get like up to, I'm not a perfect, penalizing machine over here, but let's say 5 strikes in one season, you need to either send that ref back to training school or you need to fire him because that is just ridiculous. Especially like Tim says, some calls are like right there, like Tim says. Like, how do you not see that?
Can I play devil's advocate?
Before you do that, 2 quick points. One, there is no training school because they're part-time. How you have full-time players but part-time refs?
You go to the academy. You go to the academy. That's right.
That's one. 2, basically, I'll tell you what makes it even worse. It's not like it's one ref watching the entire field. It's how many?
Right.
6 or 8 refs per game. 6 or 8 officials that are responsible for specific parts of the field or responsible for specific things. I'm watching this receiver. I'm watching these 2 receivers. How do you miss a defensive holding or a pass interference or an offensive push-off when your job is just to stare this guy down? That's all you're responsible for.
Here's why I say
miss that.
Here's why I play devil's advocate. Because you know what's the funny? You know what? There's no such thing as bad publicity. Sometimes I feel like, think about it. If the NFL really wanted perfect officiated games, think about it. Do we really want that? Because if it was perfectly officiated, literally we would have holding every single play.
No.
Hold on. We would have pass interference. We would have the whole field would be yellow. I think in general, you have these amateurs, these part-timers, and they expect them to miss calls. A, because controversy sells more tickets, and B, because if we got what we wanted, it's a Pyrrhic victory. The game wouldn't look like what we wanted to. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just playing devil's advocate because honestly, if it was refed perfectly, we really might not have the game that we really like.
But see, Mike, here's the thing, Mike. I'm not talking about this holding every call. This holding, this little bit of grabbing. But when I'm talking about, we're talking about minute left in the game. When, okay, now this is doomsday time. And Des Bryant is running. Hail Mary throw, 2-on-1. You see a push and the referee's head on video showing you're looking at Des Bryant's back with the two guys and no flag comes out. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
forget the holding. No, forget the holding call.
Tim, look at this. But look at this, Tim. You're looking at a viewpoint if the play call hurts your team.
No. You see,
this is all blown calls.
No. See, Sean,
not the minimal holdings and everything.
We're not talking about that.
But there's many times when your team benefit from the play call.
No.
And become very hush, and that could cause you to win. Like, I mean, look, I'm gonna go back to the Super Bowl again, but Edelman was concussed.
No, I think Tim just made an example of his team because
wait a minute, hold up, Sean.
Edelman was pulled out of the game.
Sean, what does a ref got to do with Matthew?
No. Tim's talking about all 32 teams. The Bryant thing just came to a first mind because he watches his team. He's talking about all 32 teams like I am.
Josh.
We're talking about the major articles that have come out this season about refs making a face mask blown call and it determines a game. It gives them 15 more yards for a game-winning field goal. How many times have we read that this season? All 32 teams we're talking about.
But the thing is, I wasn't really making Tim the example. I'm saying in general, a lot of people would complain about the refs, but it's mainly for their team. But when there's play calls and a ref supposed to call for their team, they're very quiet. They don't take that win.
Josh. Didn't I just use the New York Giants in the Patriot game as an example? Two teams I hate the most, and I just said the Giants got cheated off with a play clock. The clock was going 10, 9, 8, 7, and it went 21. It's things like that it decides the football game that is not fair. I'm not talking about holding and the little things during the first 3 quarters. I'm talking about in the last minute of the game. We just witnessed Sammy Watkins with that catch. With that last minute catch. I'm not saying that, okay, if the referee would have ruled them out of bounds, the Bills would have won, but it gives opportunity. Hey, I give you a better one. How do you fuck up a coin toss?
Hey.
Oh, excuse me. How do you, sorry, apologies. How do you mess up a coin toss? Philly and Dallas. You see Ed Hockley with a tight shirt say heads or tails. If the Eagles play says tails, heads, you're gonna tell me say tails? What's going on with that? Heads or tails? Heads or tails? Tails or heads? What's the problem?
Here's the part where you know what? I hate being a conspiracy theorist, but see the passion that we have talking about this? Seriously, think about it. See the rage and the emotion that we have talking about this? Are we really not sure that they're not getting full-time refs to keep people talking about the league? Because seriously, if it's just a clean game, sometimes you don't talk about it. But if you have a well-played game next to the crappiest call you've seen in your life, now you have everybody in the Northeast with an accent that you want to choose talking about, I can't believe it. Forget about it. Yeah, it's a flag. You have more headspace. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's the reason why, Cueto, they're not full-time. I'm saying there's a reason why, because why pay for less publicity?
But my thing is, what's the penalty? Where's the penalties at? We need penalties. I mean, hold on. Didn't they just penalize a referee 5 weeks later for the first game of the season for the Steelers and Patriot game? 5 weeks later, you decide to just suspend this guy?
You know
For what?
You know
For what?
I'm gonna let Cueto talk, but I'm gonna ride on Michael's theory for a little bit. There is a Pandora box with this whole penalizing the referees, and I just thought about it, and I don't think we talked much about it when Michael brought it up, that there'll be flags everywhere. Now think about it. Now think about it. Let me finish.
But we're not saying.
No, let me finish.
Let me address it real quickly.
Let me
I can tell you why there wouldn't be flags everywhere.
No, it will be. Think about it.
I'll explain why they wouldn't. I'll explain.
Let me explain why there will be flags everywhere. Because if a ref is going to be penalized for missing calls, there will probably a lot of false calls. Oh, I thought I saw an infraction. Hey, I'm doing my due diligence. Hey, sorry, false call. There'll be so much false calls because they'll be afraid of being penalized. The game will be twice as long as what we know of football today. I mean, until they get better at it, maybe. But if we were to enforce this now, you think that referees want to get penalized? No. Until I think maybe if you can prove that the referees are purposely throwing the game, yes. But maybe there's a legal ramification down the line. But for human error, trust me, for human error, you're going to have a lot of referees going way overzealous, throwing the yellow flag.
So I fully agree with you. I agree with you with that. I think you're going to have a few of them, or most of them, saying, I'd rather throw it than not throw it. But at the same time, I think they should be penalized for overthrowing stuff as well. That should count.
Oh, now you make it too complicated.
No. Like, you can't just be throwing stuff out there. But
yeah, but they're just guessing themselves. Wait a minute, I thought I saw something.
But you're a professional.
But I can't overthrow it.
But you're a professional. It's the same way you don't want. It's the same way. Hold on. But it's the same, right? But they should be. But they should be professionals. So the same way that you have a QB and you don't accept that your QB said, "Oh, I thought he was open," or "Oh, I didn't see him open."
No, but they're professionals. Right. Full time. Even off seasons, they're full time, not referees.
But the refs should be professionals, is what I'm saying.
They should, but I mean, they don't treat it as such.
But they should be full-time professionals. But I'd like to say something else about throwing the games. I think the refs are throwing the games now because you're throwing the game anytime you allot. Hold on, anytime you allot a QB some extra protection because they're well known or because they've performed a certain way in the past, that you won't allot someone else.
Well,
it just made me sick. Teddy Bridgewater got, it's like he got mugged, molested, and then mugged again on Sunday on a slap to the head and a face mask on the play that he got injured.
Yep.
How do you miss that? How do you miss that?
We got to make it real quick.
Here's another point. Here's another point that I don't think we're taking into consideration. The plays that are replayed. The replays, if you notice, they tend to get right. And this is a big issue. You can't replay everything because the angles that we're seeing are from new age camera. There's a camera on a cable. There's cameras there's like 11 cameras everywhere. So when we see it at that angle, we have to understand these guys are running at 19 miles per hour and that ref has one angle.
But he has one job. Here's the thing. He has one job.
This is why you have to understand it. They're never going to see it exactly the way we see it.
And they're not going to catch every one of them. Yeah, they're professional, but they can't catch every one of them.
But see,
you're not to be as good as a machine.
You see, what we're arguing about is nobody. This whole thread is about deciding the game. When nobody's saying call every single call during the course of the game. I'm talking about no. Listen to me. There's been plenty of teams that lost this year because a call wasn't called, or because somebody did something, they blinded. And when we look at the video, what do you see? The referee right there looking at the fucking at the game. So my thing is this: I'm talking about a play that decides the game. You should be penalized. You should.
You know what? We really got a time.
Plato's point from the beginning. For every play within the fourth quarter that you see decides the game, there are worse, heinous misses from the first, second, and third quarter. Hold up. That could have led to points. That could have decided the game that we were all okay with them letting go.
Okay, but who?
It's too. I was on your side starting with it, but honestly, there's too many parameters to be that strict. It doesn't make sense.
Too much nuances. It's way too much nuances. You know what? We're going to leave it at this point. We got to go. We got to go on. We're running out of time. But basically what Michael's saying is, hey, it could be a winning game, that the ref blown, but it could be a call before that gave that team their winning chance. That the ref blew earlier.
I hope your team plays the Patriots 16 times every year for the rest of your lives. And you will understand about play. You will definitely understand where I'm coming from. Play the Patriots 16 times, and you will understand. I hope so. I hope so.
Again, this guys.
I hope so.
I was going to do it this year. This guy. I was going to do it this year.
I hope the Patriots play you guys 16 times, but you can see every blown call. Understand where I'm coming from.
And I hope your Cowboys will always make it just to fail.
When you go draconian, you have to understand what you're asking for. You can't have a little bit. You can't have it all for the last minute. When you do these things, it's all or nothing.
Okay, so Mike, hold on, Mike. If I call heads and you call tails, and Sean is I call heads, you call tails. Sean the referee. Hold up. So if he calls it wrong, and I say heads, and he says, okay, no, it landed heads. You didn't say heads. I want to know what's the penalty for Sean. What's the penalty for Sean?
2-game suspension.
Okay, there you go. See?
Okay, that
a coin toss.
Ain't like a holding PI. That's just stupid. You can get 2 games for that.
Now, okay, for that note, we're moving on to the last down, guys. 3rd and 1. We'll be right back.